Hi there guys, it's Joel here from Aussie Chart Trends. Today's market update is for Wednesday the 30th of January 2013. Today we're going to be checking out the S&P and then we're going to take a look at the asx200. Before we do that, I've just got to remind you that aussiecharttrends.com.au and this video are for educational purposes only. Nothing stated at the site or in this video is intended to be used as any form of investment advice. I am not a licensed professional. You need to make your own decisions regarding your investments. I'm just here to help anyone searching for a practical direction in today's markets. Okay, let's take a look firstly at the S&P 500. Looking on the daily chart here of the S&P, we've been concentrating on two main trend lines in the long-term perspective, and one of them being this top line here. Now, we drew this top line over the head and shoulders top that we had here in 2011, and we extended that out over the head and shoulders top that we had in 2012. Now, in previous weeks, we were watching this line to see if it would act as resistance, and it did there for a couple of days. I think we had about 4 days of trade where the S&P ran into this roadblock and wasn't able to get over it. Now, the S&P 500 has been able to get over this level and tackle this other trend line that we've got drawn. Now, this other trend line that we've had drawn has been over the peak here that we had roughly in the middle of June of 2011, and we've extended that out over the head and shoulders top of 2012, and last night's trade we ran straight into this line and we resisted off it. I'll just zoom the chart in. As you can see here, I haven't moved this line, but the S&P 500 was able to find an area of resistance on the daily chart. So that's something to keep an eye on, and that may be a signal that we might be ready to come down just to consolidate for a little bit before we head back up to reach our target of around that 1530 level. Let's take a look on the hourly chart and just get a better idea of what's going on there. So the S&P has been traveling up at this rapid diagonal ascent, and you'd expect that one day soon we will eventually break this smaller channel and come down to break this red line here. Now, let's just zoom in a little bit on this little channel and let's have a look at what happened in last night's trade. We've seen that the S&P 500 had a low of around that 1498 area before recovering. Now, it looked like there at one point that we may have came down to tag on this lower boundary line, but then the S&P 500 was able to recover. I've just snapped a trend line from the very bottom here, and I've just brung that up. So this line may be a clue in tonight's trade. If we see this line break, you'd expect that would probably most likely come down. Although we do have a target there still of the high 1520s, we just need to respect the fact that this market is going up to that target and not to get in the road of it. So I wouldn't be shorting the market at any stage right now. That's just me. Alright, let's take a look now at the asx200. Okay, looking at the asx200 here, we've been observing this market now ever since the 16th of November, where we've bottomed from this little head and shoulders top pattern that we had. Now we'll watch the asx200 come up between this channel, create an inverted head and shoulders pattern in no man's land, and then we've been able to meet that minimum expected target, and now we're hovering above this purple line. Now this purple line on the long-term chart has been able to push the asx200 down every time that we've tagged up on this area. So the fact that we're over this area right now is a very strong sign of strength, but I am being cautious at this stage because I think that we do have another level of resistance approaching. If I just zoom in on this area around here, you'll see that we've had a resistance area around that 4,950 area. Now, I've just snapped this horizontal line over the last peak that we had over here in 2011. So we could probably suspect that the next strong level of resistance will be around that 4,950, 4,970 level on the daily chart. So that's just something to keep in mind, and it kind of makes sense. If we did tag up to this top boundary line, we would probably most likely find strong resistance on this area. Let's take a look on the hourly chart and see what's going on there. In yesterday's update, just to put it short and simple, we were looking at this bottom boundary level of support from our inverted head and shoulders pattern that we were viewing. And seeing as we've met that minimum expected target, in yesterday's trade I snapped a trend line over the peak that we had down here, and I was just seeing whether that would work out to be a parallel line. Now, the market can get overextended at some times and come outside the top level boundary level of our top channel. So what we'll do is just monitor the asx200 in the short term. That pretty much wraps up today's market update, guys. I just want to say a big thank you to the people that have subscribed to the Aussie Chart Trends website in the past 3 or 4 days. You know who you are, and I really do appreciate the subscription. So I'll be back tomorrow with another free daily market update.